This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 1058 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you, one day at a time. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. On today's tip, we have an excerpt from the Horsemanship Radio Show. Riders for Helmets founder Lyndsey White joins show host Debbie Laux with a top 10 list of safety reminders for riders. And we'll get right to our tip after this important message from Bimeda Equine.
We all know the importance of deworming our horses, and Dr. Ellefson of Bimeda Equine is helping us make sure we are doing it right. Listen for his 4-part series the first week of every month on this very show. I just wanted to remind everyone, if you are due for deworming, why not save a few bucks on the popular Bimeda line of wormers, including Equimax, Bimectin, Exodus, Exodus Multidose, and Equil. You can find coupons and special offers at BimedaEquine.com, including a variety of rebate offers from cash to free ivermectin. You can also get up to $2 a dose back for Equimax. And while you're at Bimeda Equine, get your free horse health record keeper, and you can just download it there. Plus, learn a bunch about parasites and deworming at Bimeda, that's Bimeda, equine.com. We at the Horse Radio Network all use Bimeda dewormers because we want the best for our horses, and we know you want the best for yours too. BimedaEquine.com, and tell them the Horse Radio Network sent you.
Well, I would like to share with you some thoughts that are 10 important messages with regards to safety that riders should remember on a daily basis.
Perfect. You ready to go?
So firstly, if you have a hard impact blow while wearing your helmet, you've got to definitely think about replacing it with a new one. You can't always tell, unfortunately, when there's damage to the helmet, and it may not be visible to the naked eye. And if you consequently continue to wear that helmet and it did have an internal crack in it and then you fall off again, you can be in really big trouble if you land on your head, because it will not provide the same level of protection that a new helmet would. So you really need to put replacing the helmet above, not, simply because it's a lot easier to replace a helmet than it is to have a traumatic brain injury.
Okay, good. Wouldn't have known that.
Right. Then something else to think about. Helmet manufacturers generally recommend replacing your helmet every 4 to 5 years, not only because helmets take a beating from, the elements, sweat, heat, dust, rain, etc., but most people don't realize that the styrofoam in the helmet relinquishes its protection, ability to protect the head over time, and it actually can degrade. So you really should, at the very least, replace your helmet every 4 to 5 years. Now, that being said, if you wear your helmet, every single day, it may need replacing sooner, and you'll pretty much know because you'll start to see, the thickness of the liner, deteriorate. So it may very well be that you have to replace it before that, but at a minimum every 4 to 5 years.
Okay. All right, that does make sense. You do kind of see that styrofoam get kind of squishy, yeah.
Another one is thinking about the hairstyle that you have when you ride, because if you normally wear your hair in a ponytail, that can actually affect the fit of your helmet. So when you try on a helmet, it's very, very important to wear your hair in the style that you would when you're riding. And not many people realize that one or pay attention to that one. You can't go into a tack shop and buy a new helmet with your hair down, but then when you ride, you always wear it in a ponytail because that will just affect the fit. So you should always try it on with the hairstyle that you would have.
Okay, so bald guys got it made. They don't have to worry about anything. All right.
That's right. If you purchase your helmet online, don't forget to check the date of manufacture. That being said, purchasing a used helmet can be incredibly risky, and we never recommend that for the reason, the helmet may have had damage that you just cannot see and sustained previous damage that's not visible. So You do need to always buy a new helmet, but just check the date of manufacture to make sure it's not an old helmet to begin with.
Okay.
There's no statistical correlation between skill level and injury likelihood. As Courtney King Dye would tell you, as being an Olympian, professional riders are just as likely to sustain an injury due to a fall as less frequent riders. So it's not about how skilled you are as a rider.
Very good. Yeah, it's true.
Even a fall from a standing horse can be catastrophic. Injury risk depends on the height from which you fall, as well as the speed at which you're traveling. So, there are examples where people have been at a walk, they've sustained serious damage. Obviously, that risk increases with the speed and the size of the horse, but you can have an accident as well, and it's important to wear safety gear, even if you're just walking around a ring, because it can happen to you at any time.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Head injuries are cumulative. An original head injury can be made much worse by additional concussions, and there's something called second impact syndrome. And you should never, ever get back on a horse until you've been cleared to ride by a doctor or an expert, usually a neurosurgeon or neurologist. Because what they don't want to happen is your brain's still suffering the effects of the first concussion, and then you have, unfortunate enough to have another fall, and that can literally finish you off. It can be a killer, literally kill somebody. So it's very, very important not to get back in the saddle until you've been cleared to ride.
Makes good sense. So even if you're wearing a helmet, but if you're not cleared, don't do it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Riding's more dangerous than downhill skiing and motorcycling. Actually, out of all of the recreational sports, riding is actually the one where you are most likely to suffer a head injury. That being said, you can obviously greatly lessen your risk by wearing a helmet, by when you're jumping, by wearing something like a body protector or vest. So taking sensible precautions and reducing your risk by doing things. To make yourself safer when you ride.
Right. Yeah. Good.
Around 20% of all accidents which result in head injuries happen while the person's on the ground. So, you can get kicked in the head, obviously, when you're picking out your horse's back feet. You can go out into a field and the horses can suddenly be spooked by something and, trample you. So a lot of people take the precaution that, once they get in the barn, they've got a helmet on the head, especially with children. I think that's very, very important, where they can walk behind horses that are maybe a bit green and would be tendent to kick. Quite important, especially for child's going out in a paddock, to have them wear a helmet when they're catching a horse or a pony. And any time, they're around them where they can have that helmet on their head, it's a really good idea to do it.
That's a great tip. Yeah, that's so true. So true.
It's best if you invest in your own helmet, whether or not you own a horse. Now, that being said, we appreciate there'll be people out there that perhaps have riding stables or training, and they do provide the kids with helmets because they can't afford their own, and obviously that's better than not wearing a helmet. But at the end of the day, your helmet is designed to fit your head, and an incorrectly fitting helmet actually offers very little to no protection. It's also very, very important, as well as having a correctly fitting helmet, you must have the harness properly fastened or the chin strap. If it's not snug, the helmet can rotate if you have a fall and actually not protect your head to its fullest intention. It's really important. Don't just put the helmet on your head and think, great,
good enough.
It's really, really important that harness.
So if you're off to a dude ranch, maybe you can bring your own if you have your own, because it's already adjusted. Yeah, good.
Absolutely. So if you're going riding somewhere, take your own helmet with you. It's far better to wear your own than borrowing someone if you have if you do have your own helmet.
Well, there you go. You can find links to today's guests as well as more tips at horsetipdaily.com. This podcast was made possible through the generous support of Bimeda Equine and listeners like you. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.